Freiheit ist für mich einmal, ja, dass ich frei bin, dass ich machen kann, was ich will, dass ich hinreisen kann. Also Grenzen hat die Freiheit für mich schon, dass ich ganz einfach dann wirklich in jedes Land kann und vielleicht dort bleiben kann. Ja, das soll halt ein bisschen überprüft werden, warum ich dort bleiben will.
I never thought about this, doing this job before.
Well, it's actually the end of my career. I'm an old man. I applied for the job, and I think I was the only applicant. And I got it, which is a nice way to get a job when you don't have competition.
There were, I guess, 200 candidates. So it was tough but interesting.
It was intoxicating. When they called me and told me that they gave me a job, I was very happy.
I've been here for 6 years. I can't believe I lasted 6 months. I always assumed I'd be fired almost immediately.
I thought that this could be a very nice opportunity to further work on media freedom, media regulation issues.
But now, after 6 years, I can say that it was my dream job.
Vienna is very clearly the easiest place in the world to live. If nothing else, they picked a great place to put the OSCE and the representative's office as well. Gustav Mahler said, if he learned that the world were going to end tomorrow, he would immediately move to Vienna, because everything happens 50 years later there.
Generally speaking, Vienna is, of course, a nice place to live. It is created for a human being to enjoy life.
It only takes you a couple of months to realize that you'll get so old and lazy and fat that you can't live in any other city.
Yeah, living in Vienna is quite comfortable and quite easy for adaptation.
It's a city where everything works quite well, very well organized. The quality of public services in general is very high.
There's a lot of going on in Vienna, so cultural life, museums, movies, and then parks, walking the parks. And I like very much going to nature also on weekends. We're lucky that the mountains are not very far.
Perhaps Naschmark is one of my favorite places. You have food, you have culture, you have different people. It's vibrant, it's noisy. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite places here.
Everybody's asking me, so are you enjoying Vienna? I normally say that I enjoy my ride from my sports school to my home late at night on the tram, and because it is a ring tram, you can see very pretty buildings. Other than that, it's a beautiful place to be in, but if you go to work and then go on business trips, you don't get much of it.
Although we work in international organizations, we are not bureaucrats. We don't come here just to sit at the desk and reply to the emails. And even when I can leave early, I know I cannot do it because I have things to do.
We spend more time by definition in the office.
People especially meet in the cafeteria to talk to each other, to exchange their views on certain issues.
I don't know much about this lady who brings the food, but I think it's very practical, especially when you have a busy day. It's very nice to have food right in the building.
This organization brings together people with different backgrounds, from different countries.
Of course, the community where you live and where you function as a citizen has an enormous impact on you. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I feel that I've lost a little bit my French identity. I try to keep the language to follow what's going on in the country, but I feel a bit disconnected. It's true, I feel more like a citizen of the world now.
I'm from Barcelona, so I have different layers of identity already, but I also feel part of the Spanish community.
I'm definitely Russian, even though I was born and raised in Kharkov. I have a picture of Kharkov next to my desk, not a picture of Moscow, because I definitely like Kharkov more than Moscow.
Well, of course, as any person, you miss, the environment that you grew up in.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find many friends here, so I miss my friends in Moscow, and that's probably one of the downsides of living abroad, at least for me.
After a while, you get used to it because you are here for work-related purposes. So, but otherwise, the mentality as such didn't change, of course.
didn't have to change much, no. But when I moved westward from Ukraine, I realized one little thing, which I now, with the benefit of hindsight, can see that a lot of very talented East Europeans lack. You have to understand that you are not the center of the universe. And you have to abide by the rules. So you're a little cog in a big machine, and you have to be responsible for your place, and you have to be proud of it.
The first thing that you need to be aware of is the fact that you cannot pretend that everybody changes just because you are from a different place. The fact that it rains and the fact that there's snow, it's exotism. So far I like it, because I'm not used to that.
I don't know, I feel very French. Probably about food, wine, you know, good things, good table.
When I was in Spain, when I'm living there, my perception was that I was a very serious person compared to the rest of the people in my country. But now that I'm in Vienna, I realize that I'm very Mediterranean compared to the Austrian people.
Do I care what other people think about my views? Not really. Multiculturalism, that involves my culture too. So get used to it.
Of course, we are different people, we have different experiences, and we do discuss different things, but at the same time we all view the developments or media freedom developments in the participating states mostly from one angle. We come to the one conclusion, and we act as one office, and this also helps the representative to fulfill her mandate.
Ich merke nichts davon, was sie machen. Es wird immer unfreier. Freie Meinungsäußerung, also auch Interviews zu geben, ihnen, ohne nachher verhaftet zu werden, wenn ich etwas Falsches sage. Das ist Freiheit der Medien. In Österreich geht es noch, aber wie lange? Wie lange geht das noch?
Freedom of speech is right of each and every person on earth.
It's part of an international agreement. After the Second World War, all the countries, almost all the countries in the world, agreed on the need to respect a series of human rights. And among those human rights, of course, they included freedom of expression and freedom of the media as a component of freedom of expression.
All citizens, all people should be able to perform this right.
So it's something that goes beyond an aspiration. It's a binding compromise that all members of international community have, and they have to live up to.
It is both an ideal and the reality, because the majority of Europeans enjoy freedom of the media. So it's a fact. But at the same time it's ideal because none of the countries can say that now we can take rest, we have freedom of the press, freedom of the media, and everybody is happy with the state of the media and the state of freedom of the media, period.
Ja, die Freiheit der Medien ist schon ziemlich wichtig, weil die Menschen schon ein Recht haben zu erfahren, was in dem Land wirklich passiert, und wenn die Medien irgendwie eingeschränkt werden, dann bekommen die Menschen irgendwie so manipulierte Informationen, und das finde ich nicht gut. Also ich glaube, die Freiheit in Österreich gibt es schon.
Die persönliche Freiheit hat Grenzen, jedoch sind sie in Österreich schon sehr weit gefächert.
The problem is the reality of our society, reality of the world nowadays. The problems people are facing, not just journalists but ordinary citizens, in order to express their own views.
We get to be bombarded every day with basically bad news. And that, of course, makes it a difficult job, because you're always looking for some positive reinforcement, and it's very tough to come by, especially in today's age when journalism itself is under attack.
The more I meet media professionals, the more respect I have for them. There must be an institution which actually stands up for them, because in as much as our job, working for the media is not a piece of work, you know, you have to be driven by something which is inside, which is like sense of justice, or this wish to share with the people.
It is everything but not an ordinary job, at least that's the way I see it. it is something that you cannot forget when you go home.
I devoted the last 20 years of my professional life, which means all my professional life, to media freedom and freedom of expression issues.
The issue of free speech is one that you've got to have some passion for it, or you don't want to do the job.
Most of us are on a mission, sure. It's not worth it, otherwise.
Our mission is to tell states how to do things, to accompany them in order to achieve a better protection in terms of freedom of expression, and of course also to warn them when we see a serious violation of freedom of expression, which is unfortunately something that happens from time to time and more often than we would wish.
I would not call it a mission.
I need a job to live, to survive, but it has become a mission, I think, after all those years. Sometimes I'm wondering if I can do something else, if I would do something else.
I would be happy if somebody would call me one of the guards for media freedom.
We don't have any compulsory means, sanctions, whatever, to be used in order to put pressure on states. Our weapon to defend freedom of expression is freedom of expression itself.
Knowledge. My key weapon is knowledge.
My tools, my skills, what I can organize, the ideas I can come up with.
Our voice and our arguments. These are our weapons.
The weapons are all in that room with the representative. All I can do is prepare information for her to act upon.
She has weapons? I don't know that she has any.
It is the mandate that is guarding me, to say that I'm a guard is a bit too much, but I do stand as an official who is given a mandate to protect free speech and free media.
Mit dem letzten halben Jahr haben wir gezeigt, es gibt kein Europa. Und alle Institutionen sind eigentlich nur Geldverschwendung, muss man ganz ehrlich sagen. Ich bin ein ganz feuriger und enthusiastischer Europäer. Ich bin in ehemaligen Jugoslawien geboren, habe das Glück, hier leben zu dürfen und hier aufwachsen zu dürfen. Ja? Aber wir haben gesehen, es gibt kein Europa.
I don't see why we should talk about the responsibility of the OSCE. The OSCE is a framework. It's a forum for discussion. The responsibility is alone with the national governments or heads of state. You see what I mean?
I come from a country that is in transition. We came out of a horrible war in the 90s. I'm from Sarajevo, from Bosnia and Herzegovina. I know what does it mean when your right to free speech is suppressed.
I remember my first big project was in Bosnia and Herzegovina in 1996, that is immediately in the aftermath of the conflict. And the OSCE there had a very robust mandate. Lots of Bosnian people were upset with the OSCE, saying that it fails to deliver. However, they had their national government. It's the national government they should put pressure on, not an intergovernmental organization.
No, I do not think it's anything to do with the office. It is to do, again, with governments. No government likes to be criticized, so of course they bite back in order to disagree with me.
Freedom of the Media Office cannot start or stop the war. That's clear. Sometimes even the governments can't do that. But the question should probably be then whether we did everything in order to advise the governments or the international organization at large to prevent the conflict or to finish the conflict sooner.
Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't, but it doesn't only depend on us.
It's like this doctor, who makes an important effort in order to save a patient. He did everything he could and he applied all his knowledge, but the patient died.
It's when you know that somebody is right and somebody's rights are violated, but you don't have an immediate remedy to stop that. That's very frustrating indeed. But one has to keep trying.
You need to understand that it's not your fault. You did everything you could. You need to keep doing your job. In this case, you didn't succeed, but this doesn't mean that you need to get completely depressed.
This situation is entirely new to me because I cannot do anything. All I can do is write up a text for the representative and she will decide whether and how to act upon this.
I once said that I think my entire job is based on the fact that I probably know where to put the word "the" in a sentence properly and when to use it.
The only person who has responsibility as a representative is the representative. But we have responsibility to the representative, but not because she can fire us. It will be very hard for her to fire us to begin with. But because we understand that whatever she says is based on what we advise to her. And therefore we feel responsible not only to her, but also to the outside world.
Well, I mean, nobody said that this work is easy. Sometimes there are examples when, let's say, when the work of this office doesn't make happy everyone.
Failures do happen, but by failures we understand a combination of different things that bring a particular result. Failures because you were wrong, apparently they should happen, they do happen, of course. I mean, nobody's, look at the sun, it has also spots. So that's a normal thing, but because we have a nice team here, and without any interior struggle or any inside competition or any problems of such kind, we can really discuss and come to conclusions and come to a review of failures, which do help us and do help everybody else with whom we deal.
So far, we need to keep fighting.
Because journalists are beaten, harassed, intimidated, imprisoned, kidnapped in different countries of the OSCE region. And that is something that terrifies me and many of my colleagues dealing with this. If we give up, then we lost a battle. And the battle here and the struggle here is for our basic human right.
Viele andere Leute noch erreichen in der ganzen Welt und ja ihren Standpunkt somit auch vermitteln. Auch die ganzen Organisationen, die es heutzutage, sage ich mal, gibt, ja, können sich dadurch verbreiten und vielleicht noch andere Leute mit in ihrem Standpunkt irgendwie einbeziehen dann am Ende.
The conflict will stop. I would like to stop it now, this moment. We will have to live in some other world, some other society.
Everything that we do here in this office is part of a collective effort, and there are many things that we have done in this office which can be seen as a part of as a success of this teamwork.
Each and every time where we saw that we could help a person get out of prison, or when we heard that a certain crime was investigated, crime against journalists, or where we could see that we managed to change things for better in any country. It brings joy, it brings more energy and more recognition of the work we are doing.
Freedom of the media is also doing a lot for happiness of the citizens, and it will improve quality of life.
If it is achieved, I would say we would live in an ideal world.
We will celebrate
more open, more free societies, more transparency, more accountable governance, so healthy democracies.
Of course, we can contemplate the possibility of freedom of expression fully respected everywhere someday, but I think that it will take a long to see it happening.
But even small drops can change a lot.